I just want to give an instance of how there are worrying signs that all the talk of just transition in terms of developing climate infrastructure ends up just being talk, and that what actually happens is that people who want to profit from the climate agenda and from the development of climate-related infrastructure don't give a hoot about the working people that they disrupt and impact on with the development of that infrastructure. The example I cite is on foot of conversations I've been having with fishermen off the east coast, in Dublin Bay and off the east coast of this country over the last period. And they tell me that companies who are snapping up the rights to build enormous wind farms on the Kish Bank and on the Codling Bank, in this case, this particular instance is the Codling Bank, are required as part of the foreshore licence application when they're doing their surveys, which they are doing at the moment, to properly engage with the fishermen. And in this case, 45 fishing vessels, all, with their crews, with the processing plants and so on, where they would land their catch. Although there is a requirement of Codling Wind Bank, the company, to properly engage with them, this company is not doing that. And is changing the goalposts, having originally given a particular mapped area of the track that they were going to survey, you know, the fishermen required to say where their fishing gear was and all the rest of it, and where they are required, critically, of course, to give compensation to the fishermen for the impact of the survey on their ability to fish and make an income. This company is trying to ride roughshod over the fishermen, refusing most recently even to meet them because the fishermen insisted on having a legal representative to help them through the process. Now, that sort of stuff just can't stand. These companies have to abide by the principle of the just transition, and they have to genuinely engage with these fishermen. And I would ask, I see it's Junior Minister Oisin Smith over there, so he's a fellow constituent of mine. These are fishermen in his constituency. We need to tell this company to engage with these fishermen and stop trying to wheedle out of their requirement to properly consult with them, properly engage with them, and compensate them properly and fully for the impact of their survey and indeed subsequently the development of infrastructure. Wind array, offshore wind array infrastructure. But I will also say, and so I hope I've done my duty by the fishermen in setting that issue out, and I hope the Junior Minister there will also pass that to his colleague, the Minister for Housing, Local Government and so on, who would deal with the issue of foreshore licences. But it seems to me that that company are absolutely flouting what the requirements they have under that foreshore licence to engage properly with the fishermen. So I want to call on the government to ensure that that happens. But I also think it raises a wider issue in terms of these offshore wind infrastructures, and I want to make it absolutely clear, Minister, I'm in favour of offshore wind, but I am not in favour of private companies just gobbling up our marine resources in order to make private profit for themselves, when in fact they're not even required to sell the electricity they may generate to this country, where it's private profit they make, and where there's no proper marine spatial planning. I mean, we have county development plans on land, right, where democratically one of the few powers local representatives have is to decide what goes where, right? Is this place suitable for housing? Is this place suitable for agriculture? Is this place suitable for recreation and amenities? But that's not what happens out in the sea when it comes to parcelling up areas of the marine. Basically, the private companies decide where they want to put things. And then the government effectively dances to their tune. That can't continue. We don't want to end up with a marine version of the sort of, what would you call it, Wild West approach we had to housing, and now have that in terms of offshore infrastructure, which led to the madness of the property boom and bust. These profit-driven people are more than capable, if they're not reined in, from doing in the area of offshore climate-related infrastructure exactly the same damage they did in terms of housing with the boom-bust stuff and the desperate consequences that followed. And frankly, I don't believe any part of the marine environment should be privatised. But that's in effect what's going on, is the privatisation of the marine environment, with potentially devastating consequences from an environmental point of view, from a biodiversity point of view, from the point of view of marine biology and so on, and indeed impacting on groups like fishermen, their livelihoods, their industry and so on. So we need proper regulation. We need best practice in terms of the development of these things. We need real engagement with people and communities who are impacted by the development of these infrastructures, because quite frankly, if we don't do that, we will actually discredit the climate agenda, which is such an urgent agenda to deliver on. And don't get me wrong, it is absolutely critical that we develop the infrastructure to deal with the existential threat of climate change, but you will actually damage that agenda in a very serious way and undermine its credibility if you don't engage with, and indeed have it driven to a very large extent by the needs, the wishes, the views of the communities and the working people that this agenda is likely to impact on. So I'll leave it at that, Ceann Comhairle, but I would genuinely appeal to Junior Minister Oisin Smith there to pass this along to his ministerial colleagues, the need to get that company to properly engage with the fishermen in relation to the coddling bank.